You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Losing LeQuint Allen, Jackson Meeks, and Oronde Gadsden, they're all big losses. But on this segment, we're going to talk about to what degree are they big losses. And in large part, it's about what's behind them and what role did they play this season, okay? So I think of those three guys, this is my opinion right here, I think LeQuint Allen is the biggest loss. Here's why. He's so versatile. He was such a versatile player. He was someone who was a lead workhorse running back. Back-to-back seasons of over 200 plus attempts. Rushing, just rushing. He's someone that can run between the tackles. You can move him outside. He's very versatile as just a running back, but also as a receiver. You could split him out wide, and he's a mismatch against basically every linebacker in college football. LeQuint Allen was not just a quote-unquote check-down merchant. No, he's an actual wide receiver at times. You could split him out, and he can run routes. He had over 1,500 scrimmage yards as well. That's just a lot. And when I look at the running back room, I don't see a clear guy. I don't think it's going to be as seamless of a transition like it was from Sean Tucker to LeQuint Allen. I think right now, and we'll talk about it more in future podcasts, but the lead for now seems to be true freshman Yassine Willis, who will be a true sophomore next year, and also Will Nixon coming back to Syracuse after being injured for most of the year, but he's a really productive pass-catching back. So I think as of right now, and we'll see if Syracuse decides to go in the portal or not to find a running back, you're looking at a combination of Yassine Willis and Will Nixon as the top two running backs so far for Syracuse football. So you're looking like it's going to be a committee. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's just no one-for-one on the roster right now at running back for LeQuint Allen. He's kind of a unicorn in that sense. And I think the second biggest loss of those three is Oronde Gadsden. Oronde Gadsden, simply put, has been one of the best tight ends in America the past few seasons. He had an awesome breakout 2022. His injury in 2023 cut that season short after one game and 5 minutes, give or take. He caught one pass against Western Michigan, and then all of a sudden he got hurt. He hurt his foot, I believe. But he came back from injury in 2024, and he was back to his usual self. The loss stings. It hurts. But when you look what's behind Oronde Gadsden, you'll probably realize, okay, I think Syracuse might be okay at tight end. Here's why. There's a guy named Jamie Tremble that is waiting in the wings. Tremble was a near consensus 4-star tight end in 2024, but he did not play this past season. He redshirted. And for good reason. They had Oronde Gadsden as the starting tight end. He didn't need to play. And Tremble, he profiles very closely to Oronde Gadsden. He's a pass-catching tight end. And when I had on Brian Smith, a Locked On recruiting analyst, on here, he said that the thing with Tremble is he's got to get in the weight room. So he had a full year to get in the weight room. And I think next season, he's going to fill the void of Oronde Gadsden. I'm not saying that he's going to be an All-American tight end. I think that's unfair expectations to put on him. But I do place relatively high expectations on a guy like Jamie Tremble. I would not be surprised if he finished All ACC next season. In fact, when they were recruiting Jamie Tremble, this was actually back when Dino Babers was the head coach, they told him, I found an article online about this, that he was going to fill the void of Oronde Gadsden once Oronde Gadsden left Syracuse. So, assuming that holds up with Fran Brown, and he ultimately did sign with Fran Brown, I think it could be one of those seamless transitions like we saw Sean Tucker to LeQuint Allen, Oronde Gadsden at tight end to Jamie Tremble at tight end. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below, but I got high hopes on Jamie Tremble, so it could offset the loss of Oronde Gadsden. And then the third one, it's a big loss still. Jackson Meeks, over 1,000 yards. But this isn't necessarily about the player that they are losing. It's more so what's behind him. There's a lot of depth at wide receiver. I don't know if there's anyone on the roster right now behind him that's going to put up 1,000 yards next season. But there's plenty of guys that can fill the void. Darrell Gill is one name to look out for. Zeed Haynes is making his return next season. Think about it this way. If Zeed Haynes and Darrell Gill, let's say conservatively, they have 500 receiving yards each next year. Well, there you go. You just replaced the production of Jackson Meeks, right? Kind of like that money ball. But honestly, I think Darrell Gill at this point is a safe bet to go at least over 700 next year, considering he finished with nearly 600 this year. I like Darrell Gill a lot. Zeed Haynes. There's a 4-star Emmanuel Ross waiting in the wings. Amari Hatcher's a veteran wide receiver. There's so many players. I'm probably missing some names, but just off the top of my head, I'm not really worried about the wide receiver production for Syracuse next year because they got a lot of guys who can fill the void of Jackson Meeks. It's still a big loss, but of the three, he is certainly the third biggest one. So in conclusion, LeQuint Allen is certainly the biggest loss. Then you got Oronde Gadsden, and then you got Jackson Meeks. What do you guys think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts.